but I just wasn't sure. I didn't think that was.
It's your call with John Penny and Dwayne Long.
Hey, it's your call. Welcome this morning to the show. Our names are Dwayne Long
and John Penny,
and we're here to share our opinions, provide information, and discuss discussion of sports, locally, regional, and across the globe.
And today's main topic right now is cheating in sports.
Cheating in sports?
Cheating
you mean that happens?
That happens more than we thought.
I can't believe it.
If you look at baseball, the World Series was tainted. I mean, I can't stand it. I think they should take the championship away from the Dodgers.
No, the Houston Astros.
The Houston Astros, and give it to whoever they played.
Right. It's incredible that they would allow players to steal the signs and then to send some sort of a noise to indicate what the pitch was going to be.
Beating a trash can. You know, nobody's ever beat a trash can laid onto a trash can during a game before. And all of a sudden it's happening all over the place. And every time they do it, a ball goes out of the park as a home run.
Yeah, it's incredible. But what's incredible is that it happens in all sports.
All sports.
I mean, there's not a sport. It actually began in the very beginning because God said there's a tree and Adam and Eve not supposed to eat of that tree, but a little devil comes along and convinces them, hey, you can eat that tree. So it's been cheating ever since. They cheated. They ate of the apple.
Well, thank you for that lesson, Dwayne.
Well, you're welcome.
But I think we could take more modern things like cheating in basketball.
Oh, yeah, all the time. It seems like what I can't stand is you have players who are famous players.
Yes.
And it seems like they get the breaks, they get the calls, or they're not called on them.
If LeBron James got called for the times he fouls people with charges, he wouldn't last in a game of 20 minutes.
No, it's incredible what he can get away with. Not to mention just charging, but also how many steps do you get in basketball?
Oh, that's true.
It used to be 3.
Yep. Well, they're bigger people now. They get 4 or 5.
Oh, they have longer legs, I guess.
Yes. Well, how about that basketball official, Tim Donaghy? He was actually fixing games so he can make money. They get paid like $200,000 a year, but you need extra money so you fix the games.
My understanding of that was he was working with a bookie.
Yep.
And the bookie would tell him which games that he needed to win.
Well, whoever the point spread had to be right.
Right.
So if they were supposed to win by 7 points, they won by 7 or 8 or 9 points. If they were supposed to lose by 2, then they lost by 1 or 2, or 2 or 3 or 4,
And it makes you wonder how many times that happened to where it impacted the outcome of the division races.
Well, I was playing at the boys' club one day. I think my coach fixed the game.
Of course he did. You were playing.
Yeah, I was such a bad basketball player. I really was.
You were short.
Yeah, thank you very much for bringing that up.
I couldn't.
They really can't tell on the screen that I'm short.
That's true.
I was going to say I was 6'2", 6'3". See what happens.
Well, you'd been cheating.
Yeah. There you go.
The subject.
You cheat on height.
Yes, you do. Some people do. But there's lots of cheating that goes on. Even in football. Hey.
Spygate,
Deflategate. How many calls are also missed?
Oh, how about that championship game where they missed on the one play, the last play of the game, they missed calls by three separate referees were right there. None of them called anything.
I know they should have called pass interference.
Easily.
But they didn't. So, it just happens in all kinds of sports. And,
And
of course, the deflate gate, you can't miss deflate gate because Tom Brady, as great of a ball player he is,
well, they say he's the greatest of all time, and he might be. He really might be.
he might be, but he was checking the balls to make sure that it had
Sure.
less
Air in them.
air in them because that way he could get a better grip on the ball.
Right. And like he needed the help. I mean, really. So then you had what was the other thing? The Kentucky Derby winner this year. Bob Baffert gave him drugs. He won. He won
Of
the
course
Derby,
he
and
won.
then they took it back from him. They are, which I think is the right thing to do. If you cheat, there's got to be a punishment.
Yeah, there's always needs to be a consequence for violating the rules.
Right. If you get caught, well, if you foul somebody in basketball, you immediately they call the call, fouls on you. Now, do you remember watching games where the referee would point at you and the foul's on you, but your teammate raises his hand up and they give him the foul instead of you? I love that. That made me laugh.
Now, the other thing that happens in basketball is the referee makes a call. He realizes maybe it wasn't the call he was supposed to make. And so he does what they call a makeup call.
Right, down the field, down the court.
Now, I have to admit, as a basketball official doing youth games and high school games, that occasionally I would miss a call. But I'd always try not to make it up at the other end of the court.
Right. I think we refereed. How many games do you think we refereed together? Hundreds, 500?
Oh, probably.
Oh, probably at least. I mean, we were 3 games a night, 4 on Saturday. So that's 19 games a week over 10 years.
At least. And we would go from 4:15, our first game refereeing, to our last game starting at 8:15
Right.
at nighttime at the then boys club, now Boys and Girls Club. So,
Which is good. Boys and Girls Club is good.
Oh, it's a great organization. We were both privileged to be a part of that organization.
Yes, we were.
You started out your boxing career.
I sure did.
Tell us about that.
Went to the gym one day and was watching a professional fighter named Richard Young. And I was doing what he was doing outside the ring. And he said, "Hey, little man, come in the ring." And he showed me how to move around and throw punches. And it was great, man. It changed my life.
Again, you talk about your height, little man.
Right.
I tell you, what can I say? You are a little man with a big boxing talent.
I couldn't work in the circus. I wasn't like that short, buddy. Let me tell you that. I was 5'9". For my weight boxing, I was still short. Usually most middleweights are 6 foot tall, and I was like 5'9", 5'10".
What are you now?
The most. What am I now? About 5'4". Bad choices.
You're not quite a little people yet.
No, but I'm getting there. I mean,
day by day.
my wife will actually carry me around sometimes at the store. So,
Well, that's good. I know that you, of course, went on to be the Southern United States middleweight boxing champion.
yeah, I was for like 2 years.
And I was so privileged to have 6 wonderful fights in my boxing career.
And amateur fights, and they were good.
Well, I sure wasn't professional fights, thank
No.
God.
But you won. You scored the fastest knockout ever at the boys' club,
Well,
and then when you went to jump and you got the fastest knockout, of course, the other way around.
I had the privilege of beating an opponent that was about 5'4", and I was 5'11",
Right.
and we both weighed 105 pounds.
That was and then their coach kept telling the kid, "You're not fighting that big guy. He's way too big for you." And he said, "He's fighting me, coach."
Yeah, and the fight didn't last that long. I think it was 20 seconds.
Well, you hit him 20 times on top of his head.
I know that's the only way I could hit him was punching down.
Okay, well, we got to get out of here for right now. So, Hal, let's take a little break here. What do you say?
Let's take a break.
Acid. Acid. Relief.
San Francisco in 1969.
We are back live.
We are. Oh man, that was great. Usually, something you get on when I was doing comedy for the past 35, 40 years, they have radio shows we have to do in the morning,
Sure.
and they just throw questions at us and stuff like that, and we get phone calls, we get called in. So I think it's going to happen here soon. We're hoping that we'll get live phone calls, and I can't wait for that because I love talking to people. I really do.
Oh, that'll be great.
Oh, I know, man. It's where we can. And I know you see. We have no callback right now about whether you agree with us or not. And I'd like to know that. I'd like to know we can discuss things back and forth that way.
Oh yeah, I think it'd be incredible if we can communicate with other people. And one of the things we're going to do, I know, is to bring in some special guests from time to time.
Yes.
Here on the show. I want to get back to cheating in sports once again because recently there's been a lot of talk about pitchers using foreign substances during ball games, and even the Cardinals, my team's own Adam Wainwright, had openly came out and said that in 2019 he utilized a foreign substance for a few games, but it didn't seem to do any good, so he quit using it and hadn't used it since then.
They say it's been going on since the 20s that people have been using stuff on the baseballs. I was never a pitcher, so I never have any knowledge of this. I was a catcher.
Right.
And I just, when I got into high school, I saw guys fooling around with certain pitches and stuff like that. They say they're using suntan lotion and this tacky stuff. I can't remember what they call it, but it's really puts adhesive to your fingers, and you throw the ball and really get a huge spin rate. That's the important thing now, like the batting thing where they swing upward, and then now they got the spin rate.
Oh yeah, they're coming out with all kinds of analytic statistics about the spin rate, how fast the baseball travels from the bat,
well, look, but
velocity,
look,
and all that.
the problem is people are not hitting as well as they did earlier, years ago. They're not hitting the ball. They're hitting home runs, but it's home runs or doubles or nothing. I mean, nobody moves people around very much. I love baseball. I mean, I really love baseball. I love the strategy of it.
Oh, it's a great game. I mean, it's the American pastime. I mean, it's just a wonderful venue, bringing in pro ball, bringing 24 people together to
Right.
form a team and to work
I think it's
together
the
for a
hardest
common
sport
goal.
that way. I think it's the hardest sport because you have 24, 30 people on your team and you have to work together. You really have to work together. You get those relief pitchers and they come in and start throwing these balls that are spinning 1,000 times a minute. I mean, it's just, whoa. The guys can't hit the ball.
Yeah, but how important is it to the fan to know that your ball is spinning 97 revolutions per second?
Well, it's just the fact that you wonder why they're striking out so much. I mean, people are striking out at record rates now.
But getting back, I want to get one more point across about the foreign substance, and that is, should the Major League Baseball had addressed this in the middle of the current season?
No, they should. I think they should have done it at the first of the season and say, hey, we're going to crack down early. You don't crack down in the middle of the year. Like that one pitcher said, I'm used to throwing an illegal pitch, so it's hurting my arm now. Well, as what we're saying is you're cheating, so I mean, we're sorry about your arm, but you're cheating.
Yeah.
And we're saying you can't cheat anymore.
And I remember watching game for the great Gaylord Perry,
Oh,
who was notorious for putting substances on the
Right.
ball.
him and his
watching
brother
him-
both.
Oh yeah, they were fanatical about it,
Yes.
and it helped them in a
Oh,
lot of
definitely.
games. So, but I think Major League Baseball should have waited till the end of the season to address the issue, not do it in the middle of the season
Right.
like they're doing now. Because now, if they're caught with it, 10-game suspension.
Right. Well, it's a pitcher that's 2 games.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not like they're going to be without him forever. It's 2 games. Of course, at the end of the year, it starts getting close, and you need those good pitchers that are out there.
Those games may become very important.
I just don't. I have a love for the game. I have a love for sports itself, and I don't believe in cheating. I really don't. I mean, and people said, "Well, you were a pretty rough boxer. You've cheated before," and I say, "Yeah, I've cheated before, but I never cheated first." Boxing is a very hard, brutal sport. And there were times that you got cheated on. People butted you with their heads or stuck thumbs in your eye or used the laces on your eyes, and they rub all the skin off your eyes. It hurt. And I had all that done to me as an amateur and a pro. But
Right.
you learn that where you don't, I would never do it first. I would tell the referee at the end of the round, I'd go sit down, referee come over and talk to me, and I'd say, hey, this guy's cheating really bad. He's thumbing me in the eye. And if you ever have somebody stick a thumb in your eye with a left jab that's going 50 miles an hour, it hurts.
And
badly.
It blurs your vision for a while.
Oh, blurs your vision. It hurts so bad you can hardly walk around. You put your hands up in the air and you pray the guy doesn't hit you, And so I had all that. I mean, I got cut over and under both eyes by a guy one time and across the nose. This is in one round.
Oh.
One round, and I'm bleeding. And they come to my corner and say, if you keep bleeding, I'm going to have to stop the fight. I go, well, you need to stop that guy from making me bleed. He's using his head the whole fight.
Right.
And,
So I think what you have told me before is that either the referee needs to take care of it, or you're going to take care of it yourself.
Right, exactly. It's like a baseball umpire when they're throwing balls at the guy's heads. You throw at a guy's body, you throw at a guy, especially the legs or the bottom, his butt, they're not going to say anything.
Right.
But you throw at a head or the elbow or the arm, they're going to say something because you could really hurt somebody badly.
Oh, there's been many people, batters who have had their careers ended.
That's right. Oh yeah, Tony Cnigliaro, remember him?
I sure do.
Boston Red Sox.
Oh, there's a team.
When he got hit, his eyes swelled up. Oh my Lord, it was scary.
It sure was. We've got a lot of different sports that we've talked about, and I'm sure that cheating happens everywhere.
Sure, football. I just don't want it to be the referees or the officials, because that changes the whole game. I'm not saying they cheated in that championship game, but three officials, and none of them called pass interference. And they were all within 10 yards of it.
Yeah, and that was the NFC championship game.
Right, and they weren't standing next to each other. They were spread out. You think somebody saw something, and we don't like to call something the last minute. Well, that's what the basketball referees say. We don't like to call the last minute, let it be a free game. No. If a foul's on the first minute, it's a foul the last minute.
And if it's pass interference in the last few seconds of the game,
that's right.
You make that call.
You make the call.
Absolutely. It's got to be something fair and equitable for all the players, because I know we don't want to talk about gambling, but it does take place in professional
gambling
sports.
Is huge. It's in the $1 billion.
Oh, absolutely. And if something happens in the game, that's going to affect the score of the game. That may affect the who wins and who wins.
I have been known to put money on a game every once in a great while.
No.
Yes, I have. And I'll tell you, when you start seeing that stuff happen, you wonder about the referees, the officials. You wonder about the officials, like, how could they let this go? And your money goes away for it.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things. It's unfortunate that people put hundreds of thousands of dollars on games. And looks like we're going to get ready to have a break here in just a second here. Let's go to the next break.
best.
Hey, don't forget the $100 giveaway. This week's sponsor is 820 Zone. Last week's winner was Larry Melton. Keep watching AMG Broadcasting for your chance to win. If your company wants to sponsor a $100 giveaway, make a donation of $100 on axmediagroup.com and receive a full week of advertising. A lucky audience member wins $100 per week all summer long. Oh, that's a great deal.
$100 a week?
Yes.
New winner every week.
Wow, that's nice. That's great. Um,
What do you think about the use of steroids?
oh man, I hate that. I hate the whole thing. They're kind of going back in the, I don't know, you don't hear about them as much anymore. All people are using them and stuff. I just, I was approached a couple times about using speed for my fights. And this is actually what a guy said to me. He says, "Hey, Penny, man, would you like to, I got some speed for you for your fight." And I said, "Well, my whole fight game is on speed." He goes, No, speed the drug. And I go, "Well, what's it do?" He goes, "You don't even know you're hurt." And I go, "Well, if I'm hurt, I want to know I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I want to get out of the way of a punch or tie the guy up or something, you know?"
Yeah, you want the guy to miss his
Yeah,
punches.
exactly. Especially if I'm hurt, I'm going, wow, you know. And I've had people talk to me about the greatness of steroids. I just couldn't do that. I couldn't cheat like that. I had a guy tell me one time, said he knew me really well, and if I thought I could win a championship doing steroids, I would have done it. And I wouldn't. It wasn't even just a cheating. I hate needles so bad. I definitely couldn't have done it myself. So I just think it's so wrong.
Yeah, it's I know back in I think it was the 70s, might have been the 80s, when the great home run race between Mark Maguire and Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
You being a Cub fan, of course, you were a big follower of Sammy, and
Right.
of course, I love Mark Maguire and what he did. But we find out later that they were using steroids.
Oh, I knew you could tell it when they said that Mark Maguire had to get a bigger hat. His head had actually grown. His head had gotten bigger when he was like 24 years old, 25 years old.
Well,
it doesn't happen.
When Mark Maguire was with the Oakland A's, he had a nice, thin, petite body.
Starting out. So did Sammy. Sammy was a real fast runner and stuff like that.
But then they start using their steroids. Their body starts to bulk up a little bit. They're hitting balls 500 feet.
But they're also getting hurt.
Yeah,
they spend a lot more time. Yeah, little injuries and stuff. I remember watching a football game one time, pro football game, and this running back had been accused of doing steroids. Well, he scored 4 touchdowns that day, and I'm going, well, maybe steroids is the way to go. That's what they're saying here, basically, without even saying it. But I love the games. I love the way the rules are written. I love the games. We've refereed basketball, baseball. We never did football, but we refereed a lot of baseball and basketball games.
Well, we were afraid to do football because we thought we might get tackled.
Yeah, that's true. But basketball, we refereed, like I said, so many games at the boys' club. Baseball, we worked for the Kiwanis organization, and it was a great organization, really good baseball, and we had a lot of fun. Yeah,
I was privileged to be able to umpire with the Kiwanis program. And one of the things that I remember the most was I was at Glenwood Park over on the east side of Springfield. I'm umpiring a ball game between two teams, and I had these 2 young kids behind me, behind the fence, and I would hear them during the break time. They say, "Is that who I think it is?" And they kept on wondering, and so finally, during the breaks one time, they got a little closer to me, and they asked me, is your name Pete Rose? And I said,
Yeah.
no, I'm not Pete Rose. Pete Rose is a major league ball player. But at that point in time, I had longer hair.
Right.
And I kind of looked like Pete Rose.
You did.
But I sure couldn't hit like Pete Rose.
No, nobody can hit like Pete Rose. But there's a great example of cheating. In every major league park, on the outside of the door, it warns you about gambling. You cannot walk past it without reading it almost. I mean, it's right there. And Pete cheated. And some people say he should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't. I really don't. I mean, he legally or the way he played the game, he should be.
Right.
But he also cheated the game.
Yeah, there's a big, large group of people who would like to see him
Oh, they'd love to see
in
him
the
in
Hall
there.
of Fame. The same with Roger Clemens,
But-
Mark Maguire, Sammy Sosa. You name all these guys. and-
There's also people letting people out of prison even though they haven't done their whole sentences yet. No, that's not right. If you do the crime, you do the time.
right.
And if you're going to play baseball, you don't cheat. And it's not so much what he bet on. He bet on his own team. He would bet on his own team. He never bet on the other team ever.
Right.
But he bet on his team. Well, that's not too bad, except for the fact when you don't bet on the game. If you don't bet on the game, does that mean you don't have confidence in your pitcher?
Or maybe you don't think you'll win.
Exactly. So all of a sudden, the gamblers go, let's switch our bets today, and that's what happened, and that's how they got. I think that's how they actually caught him.
Yeah, I just wonder if there's a way that he could be led into the Hall based upon his career in baseball, as opposed to his managing teams and gambling.
There was a guy named Jim Murray, great baseball, well, great. He had a column in the L.A. Times. He was a great sports writer. You know, won the Pulitzer or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He said one time with Michael Jordan, and many people believe that Michael Jordan went into baseball because he got caught gambling on basketball. And they didn't want to ruin the game by putting Michael Jackson out of the game. So they said, find something to do. And he goes, I always want to be a baseball player. So he got to play baseball for a year or so. That's rumors. But at the same time, Michael would play golf, and he would be playing for $50,000 a hole, more than the pros play.
Sure.
Him and Charles Barkley and people like that would play
Oh.
for. So Jim Murray said the amount of money Mike lost at golf was incredible. And Jim Murray said in a column, said, Michael, I want you to know something. Anytime you're on a golf course, there's always at least one, probably two guys that'll beat your best score you ever shoot by just one stroke. But they'll take your money and you'll never have, you have no chance. And I thought that was one of the greatest columns I ever read. It's the truth. You know, you think you go out there. Well, we've been on a golf course.
Oh,
we
yeah, we play
never
golf.
we never gambled. We just
No, but we cheated.
yeah.
I mean, how many?
Yeah, how many times we put the ball up on a grass tuft and stuff like? But we thought it was legal for the longest time.
Yeah, we were playing winter rules
Yeah,
during the summer.
yeah. During July, we're playing the winter rules.
I liked it when we did those foot wedges.
Yeah.
You remember those?
Oh man, yeah, I do.
Hey, remember playing Shady Acres
Oh,
or Siler? I guess it's
Siler's.
Siler, Shady Acres. Well, it was such a wonderful time. We'll come back to that in just a few minutes.
sure. So we're going to Siler's?
No.
Last game of the year, and the first play I was in, I got a 15-yard penalty for piling on somebody.
Hey, you got in the game.
Yeah, I got in the game, and then I was out of the game. But I was so bad a player that they had the benches. I wasn't a bench rider, because they ran out of room on the bench. So they put little folding chairs, and I was one of the folding chair players. So
Well, we both connected at the boys club back in the '60s,
right,
and one of the things I think that's where we get a lot of our love for sports. The boys club was a place where you could belong and be a part of team sports,
right.
and fortunately we had great mentors there. We had people like Bill Henderson, Freddie Ray, Tom Ray, my brother Larry Long, a lot of guys that helped us get through our adolescent years.
That's true. That's very true.
And of course, we played sports. You went on and became that professional boxer with a record of 42-5, I believe.
No, 37-5.
Well, I was
I had
close.
42 fights, but that's true.
I wasn't good at math, in school.
That's true.
Still not
That's
too
why you
good
were
at
never a
math.
varsity player.
That's right. But our background is really the boys club and
Right.
what it did in developing our love for sports and our love for one another too as friends.
Oh, sure, we're the best buddies. You spent time at the club, and there was people that I was on a guy. Coach Wilkerson was my first basketball coach. There, a big guy, and I was very quick at basketball. I could steal balls and stuff like that, but I was never a great shooter.
Right.
I never.
Still aren't.
Yeah. Well, I don't play basketball anymore. I set myself to get a foul, charging foul, and I got knocked over tea kettle type thing. I mean, I really got blasted in this basketball game, and that was the last game I ever played.
Well, we had some great times at the club. And,
Oh, but see, I left. I refereed basketball from 3:30 to 6:30. Then I went to the boxing gym and trained from 6:30 to 9 o'clock.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it was pretty rough.
Oh yeah, I mean it was an all day,
Yeah.
all evening kind of
Right.
event for you, refereeing and then boxing.
Yeah.
Whereas I refereed from 4:15 on,
Mhm.
so I had a lot of games.
Yeah.
And
People like when you referee, though. I mean, we have the little towns. Whichever we ever really had when you and I refereed together. I think, if you remember, the same was that we had the little towns. Sometimes they would think that we were cheating them for the city boys, Springfield boys, and that never. We never. You call stuff so quick in basketball. You don't have time to realize which team you're calling it on.
yeah, it happened real quick. I mean,
You know,
it's a lot of these calls are split-second calls.
split second, and you just call them. I mean, that's it. You see dribbling or double dribble, or you see walking. You just called it. Now, the major league umpires have lost that ability. but I mean, that's what we had.
And they may be replaced by robots.
The baseball ones maybe.
Yeah, the baseball ones for sure.
I don't want that. I really don't want that.
No, I think there always has to be a human factor in
Right.
sports. You're going to miss calls. That's just normal.
Right.
You're going to miss calls. And I know I missed my share of calls both as a referee and as an umpire.
But
And-
we would talk about it. We'd get together and say, "Hey, did I miss that?" Yeah, well, I thought you did, but you were closer than I was. So, and that's the thing. We see things out there that the angle that we see them in, we have a really good idea whether it was a foul or not, or walking or something. People up in the stands, they're 60 feet away, and they're going to tell me that I'm wrong.
Yes. One of the things is we've got a lot of things called the phantom. I call it the phantom call,
Yeah.
where the referee makes a call and you didn't see anything that happened, and you're in the stands yourself, and the referee makes the call. I've seen that a lot of times on television when I'm watching basketball on TV.
Oh, which is the hardest sport to referee or officiate in? What do you think?
Well, for me, it would be soccer because I know nothing about soccer. That would be tough for me.
You know, one of our first guests we're going to get on here is a lady I know that knows soccer really well, and we'll get her on here. She knows soccer, and I don't know much about it. I love watching the games, but I don't love watching the games, but I will watch that. When I was in England and I was in Europe, that's all they had on Saturday and Sunday was soccer matches, you know. I'll tell you something that bothers me is guys making $25 million for a boxing exhibition. An exhibition.
Oh,
That
yeah.
means it doesn't count won or loss. It's just you're going, I'll fight somebody. Well, I used to get mad at people who tell me, well, I fight anybody for 25 million. And I go, no, you wouldn't.
Oh,
Or you
no.
wouldn't be able to spend the money. You know.
Do I have to go a whole round?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's no, you wouldn't want to fight. I don't personally admire Mike Tyson, but he was a great puncher, a mean guy, and he fought a certain way. He was really tough.
He had good teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he did.
1, 2, 3 is a jab, right hand, and you bite him, you know. Yeah, when a guy loses half of his ear,
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
yeah, you know. But I admire him as far as his punching ability and being mean and always wanting to win. And but he got beat worse. We should do that.
You got a couple minutes left.
Okay.
Sorry about the banging.
No. He got beat worse when he lost his fights than any heavyweight champion of all time.
Yeah, Buster Douglas took care of him.
But 2 or 3 guys took care of him really big time. And I would say that would count against him in my vote for the best. He's in the top 10. I would do that, but that'd be about it.
And where would you put Muhammad Ali at?
Number 1.
Number 1.
He's my buddy. He
He's
knew
your-
me.
he's
I
your
knew
friend.
Muhammad Ali, and he knew me. And that makes me as happy as anything in the world.
Well, that is certainly great. You've had
Yeah.
the opportunity to meet some great people. I had the opportunity to be with George Foreman a couple of times.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And one of these days I'll share that story when we have more time. But he's a fantastic man, a very, very religious,
A good
devout
man.
man. Yes,
A
he's
good
a good man. That's for sure.